Hello, welcome to Pride of South London Fan TV. Ali here, bringing you my match review of the game at Goodison Park between Everton and Crystal Palace, which of course finished in a 1-1 draw, a well-deserved draw for the Eagles. And I predicted it correctly in my preview, which you can also see on the channel. But I actually really enjoyed that tonight. It was a really good game from the outset, and I flicked it on quite casually, really, not really expecting to enjoy it. And a little bit like you would flick Coronation Street on with Roy Hodgson playing the role of Norris. But Roy Hodgson got a little bit naughty tonight, didn't he? He was playing Eze as a deep line playmaker towards the end of the game. And I thought from the outset, really, we had a positive intent. So let's get into it. All the usual features, Roy's rating and man of the match. And I'll start with Roy's rating. I'm going to give Roy a 7 tonight. I don't think we can really quibble with too much. I thought his team selection was good. Most fans seemed okay with it. The only two things that I would pick up on is I'd still have Tyrick Mitchell above Patrick Van Aanholt, but I think Tyrick Mitchell just coming back from an injury, so that might have had something to do with it. And I would still have Jeffrey Schlupp over Jordan Ayew, but a lot of fans coming out in defence of Jordan Ayew on social media, citing his work ethic, and I will always advocate that. He works insanely hard for the team, but also his ability to draw fouls, and he's got better than Wilfried Zaha at that. He's just always there in the way, Jordan Ayew, isn't he? He must be so irritating for the opposition. He's like that person in the aisle of the supermarket who keeps blocking you with their trolley. But the only issue there with Jordan Ayew is he does also have this ability to run into the opposition when he does have the ball. And of course, he gave the ball away for the second of Everton's golden chances when Richarlison got away up the other end of the pitch and should have scored. And of course, we had the first moment where Luca turned slower than a bus, and they should have scored again with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but Vincente Guaita with a great save. So really, Everton should have had us out of sight. Were we lucky, or do we just have a very, very, very good goalkeeper and showed Everton what it's like to have a good goalkeeper in Vincente Guaita rather than Jordan Pickford? Anyway, I think as well what Roy did really well tonight was the substitutions, and that's not something we say often about Roy Hodgson, but he did nail it with the subs today. They changed the game essentially. Jeffrey Schlupp coming on was a good move, and then eventually the one that really turned it was Batshuayi on for Jordan Ayew. Batshuayi coming on to get the equaliser and showed us that he can score against Everton as well as Belarus. Who knew? But yeah, hopefully now. I mean, it's a shame because Batshuayi now would be good for him to kick on, but he can't play at the weekend against Chelsea because they are, of course, his parent club. Eze, I thought, had a terrific game today. He brought that buzz from the under-21s and that momentum into this game. Obviously, he had a very good week with the under-21s, and you could see that confidence in him. And he was more like the Eze from Sheffield United when he scored that wonder goal, or from Leeds when he got that free kick. Been a bit inconsistent at times this season, but that was the Eze that has really got us excited through parts of the season. And I think as well, he plays really, really well when he's really close to Wilfried Zaha. And people talk about Eze in the middle or Zaha on the left, but I don't think their positions are really defined as such. I think they sort of switch in between the two when they're playing so close to each other. And it's really hard for the opposition to pick them up or know who's going to go left or who's going to go in the middle. But I did think we were at our most dangerous when Roy did move Eze in a deeper central role and Zaha to the left. Zaha completely tore £20 million signing Godfrey apart in those last 20 minutes. And now I've come on to the subject of Wilfried Zaha. I just want to mention something that Curtis Woodhouse, the former Sheffield United player, said on social media tonight. He said, this is what he said about Wilfried Zaha. Zaha is really hard to like. That's a shame, Curtis. I'm really sad you don't like him. Top player, but moans and complains all game, chucking his arms around when his teammates don't pass to him. Players like his teammates should be honoured to share the pitch with him. They should. Top players lift others up. I don't see that in him. I've got a couple of issues really with what Curtis Woodhouse has said. The first really being that he starts off by saying Zaha's a top player, even though he doesn't like him, and then finishes by questioning whether he's a top player. So he's contradicted himself there, and I'm not even sure he knows the point that he's making. But the statement that really, I think is poor is Wilfried Zaha fails to lift players up. Well, who's the player lifting them up when, media and pundits have said that he single-handedly kept us up over the last few seasons? Who is this player that when missing, we lose over 90% of our matches? Who's lifting us up then, if it's not Wilfried Zaha, Curtis Woodhouse? Please let us know. But this is just one of the, this is the latest myth, the latest narrative peddled by the pundits and the media. They can't do him for diving because of VAR. They always had the whole Man United flop thing, which is ridiculous. See a video on my channel if you haven't about that. So this seems to be the latest stick to throw at him. Oh, Wilf's throwing his arms in the air, complaining he's a baby. It's funny, isn't it, though, when it was players like Wayne Rooney, for example, and he used to complain and he used to moan at refs and throw his hands in the air and get stroppy. It was the passion that drove him, that made him the player he is. But with Wilfried Zaha, it means he's petulant. I just think the media bias there is apparent and it's obvious. And me personally, I wouldn't want to take Wilf's drive away from him. That's part of what makes him the player he is. Occasionally, there's times you think, oh, Wilf, just leave it. But that's what's burning inside of him. And it does make me laugh because, as I said, if it's someone playing for the top four, it seems to be the burning desire within them, driving them, making them the player that they are. But with Wilf, it means he's a petulant baby. But yeah, Curtis Woodhouse seems to think that Wilfried Zaha can't lift other players up, despite that stat that we lose over 90% of the matches when Wilf isn't playing. So I'm not sure who it is lifting us up then. But if anyone wants to know what Curtis Woodhouse is up to now, he's managing Gainsborough Trinity. So I'm sure Wilfried Zaha will be devastated that he's not got a move to Gainsborough Trinity in the summer. Apologies to any Gainsborough Trinity fans out there. Anyway, let's get into it. All the usual end of features of this video will be man of the match, of course. Vicente Guaita, my man of the match. It's a pretty easy one today. I think without his saves, as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't think we would have been sitting with a draw. And I just feel like Vicente Guaita, he's like a moment away from being a more iconic Palace goalkeeper. Obviously, if you're post Nigel Martin like I am, you look to Julian Speroni. And I just don't think Vicente Guaita's had that iconic moment like in a playoff final at Wembley or like Speroni's had or in the playoff semi-finals. He needs a big cup game, doesn't he, or something? A moment of brilliant save and match-defining save in that to really, I think, put himself in that iconic status. But he definitely is going to be harder and harder to leave out your all-time Palace XV if you are in that post-Nigel Martin era. So a brilliant performance from Vicente Guaita. As I said, though, some other good performances. Eze, in particular, for me, had a really good game. So what did you think? What would you give Roy out of 10? Anybody out there after that game having a little think and thinking, actually, I wouldn't mind another year of Roy Ball? Anybody out there disagree with my man of the match? I don't think there's going to be many disagreeing with Vicente Guaita tonight. But as always, leave your comments in the comments below. Always interested to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video today, please press that subscribe button.